afternoon and a warm welcome to News Hour. I am Mahawa Aliyu. Coming up in this edition, Child Fund offers assorted medical equipment to the office of the First Lady. Evangelical Mission commissions the Mosiri Fadika Memorial Evangelical Primary School. And Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces organized the first Armed Forces Week of 2017. All these stories and more, including business and sports, coming up in the next 45 minutes. Do stay with us. For our first story this afternoon, Child Fund has donated assorted medical equipment to the office of the First Lady, Sia Nyamakroma State Lodge Hill Station in Freetown. The items are meant to boost the health system in the country. Kojo Kwafo was there and our reports.
Crutches, wheelchairs, drip stand and more. According to the Country Director Child Fund, James Pemundo, the donation is in continuation of their promise to support the Office of the First Lady. He says that they are pleased with the efforts of the First Lady to alleviate the suffering of the ordinary man.
We want to compliment, first of all, government efforts, but also your personal efforts in terms of child and maternal health, the issues around girls' education, life skills, employment for young people. So at that point, we promised that we would bring some few medical equipments, and so that's the only thing we have brought to hand over to you. We have 9 containers of beds and 1 container of assorted medical equipment, which we think the beds plus those really your office would utilize. That's one. 2 is that we want to see how we are going to continue interacting with the foundation. Be quite easy. We appreciate your effort in terms of the storage. We never had any space where we could keep all those 9, 11 containers, but you really came in very handy, and that was really quite helpful, and we look forward to future collaborations.
The First Lady expressed appreciation for the gesture and promised to distribute the items nationwide.
Always been of support to me. You've supported me in maternal child health issues. You even supported my Christmas party for the vulnerable and the underprivileged in Sierra Leone last year. So today, I'm thanking you again. I want you to know that this was made possible not only by God, but through the military. Let me thank the military, ASLAF, for facilitating the delivery. And there was a Sierra Leonean at the port who gave us his stores to use for a period of time. Let me thank him for what they have done. As a nation, we need partners like you. I hope other donors will emulate you. You have really supported us in our hour of need. So today, I'm going to thank you publicly and assure you that it will be distributed and the beneficiaries will receive them. But the name Child Fund will never be forgotten.
Kojo Kwafo ending that report there. The Joint Private Unit of the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces has organized a chain of events to mark its first Armed Forces Week of 2017. The symposium and quiz competition has been held at the headquarters of the Joint Provost Company at Moritown and Wilberforce in Freetown. Soriba Samura reports.
Commanding Officer Joint Provost Unit Major Jimmy Conte said the purpose of the week-long exercise is an opportunity for serving personnel to tap from the experience of retired officers and personnel. He said values and beliefs are central to the character of not only personnel of the Joint Provost Unit, but also to the entire Army. Major Conte stressed the need to imbibe discipline, cohesiveness, and morals as ethical standards to be used in serving the Sierra Leone Army. He recalled that the Joint Provost Unit of the military came about after the British Army overhauled the Sierra Leone Army, when the unit was called the Sierra Leone Military Police. He encouraged all personnel of the Provost Unit to be conformed to fit international standards. Guest speaker and first commanding officer of the Joint Provot Unit, Brigadier General Peter Lavaum, expressed delight at the upkeep of the unit since he left the unit a few years ago.
And reminiscing the JPU with a subtopic an epitome of effective policing in ASLAF. An epitome of effective policing in ASLAF. You see, the end of the war saw the restructuring of the entire Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces, fondly referred to as ASLAF.
Speaking on the theme, epitome of effective policing in the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces, General Lavaun encouraged personnel of the Joint Provot Unit that they must consider the motto of the unit, which is an example we shall lay. Brigadier General said that it is important for every serving personnel to see discipline and teamwork as the hallmarks of the unit. Contributions from retired officers and serving personnel climaxed the ceremony. In another engagement, the first Provot Company, Moritown, emerged winner after a quiz competition on general policy duty, traffic duty and investigation. The Chief Judge, Lieutenant Colonel Brewer, pronounced the winner of this year's competition held at the Armed Forces Education Center, Wilberforce. Various companies of the Joint Provot Unit of the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces, including the Armed Forces Headquarters Regiment, Special Investigation Branch, 1st Provot Company, 4th Brigade Company, and the South and Eastern Provinces took part.
Well, that report was filed in by Soriba Samura. The head of delegation in Sierra Leone for European Union, Tom Vance, has called on the media to cross-check their facts in order not to feel negative happening during the 2018 general elections. He made the call at a press lunch held at Bamaya restaurant. The press lunch is to acquaint himself with the press and outline the European Union activities undertaken over the years. The EU head of delegation, Tom Vance, has this to say.
Very happy to be here in Sierra Leone, of course. This is my first posting as ambassador, and so that already means that whatever happens, Sierra Leone will be a very special place for me. And I have enjoyed a very warm welcome here. I know that you have a very interesting history, and of course I also want Sierra Leone's future to be very interesting, but for different reasons. I don't think any of us want conflict and disease to be part of that future. We want to look at a future where we can also contribute to you exploiting your full potential, the economic potential, the social potential that you have. And for me, as EU ambassador, I will measure my success if I can see that we have been able to contribute really to a stronger economy, with a stronger place for your private sector, where young people, where women, where everybody can take part, and where there is greater opportunity for everybody to for self-fulfillment, I would say. So that is my big ambition here, and of course we want to do that in a society where we can see that your democratic credentials are being deepened, that we can move forward with an agenda which looks at human rights issues, where we can continue to work on governance issues. These are all areas where we are already very active, and I am happy to build on solid foundations that my predecessors have left here. But these are some of the things that I do want to engage myself in. And of course, we are now just 2.5 months away from elections. It's busy time for all of you. This also means a busy time for ourselves. We are following this and supporting this electoral process very closely, and we are doing that from different angles. The first one, I would say, and this is also where you play a very critical role, is to engage on the process. I am talking to the political leaders, the party leaders. We are engaging, of course, with all the institutions who are involved in elections. We're engaging with civil society, and to some extent you're also part of that civil society, who all have to play a role in making sure that we are making a successful democratic transition. A successful transition for us has nothing to do with who the people choose. I mean, this is entirely up to the people, but successful transition, of course, means for us that people have to have the freedom to make an informed choice. We have to have an electoral process which is not marked by violence or intimidation, where there is a level playing field, and that is properly managed. And that is, I think, how we can measure the success of the elections. And as EU, we are supporting this, as I said, through dialogue, but also through financial support that we're giving through this process, through UNDP that we're funding, but we're also supporting NEW, and you all knew better than me, who have been very engaged in the preparation also of the elections, who will be engaged also in the observation of the elections. We're also supporting Search for Common Ground, who is doing work in the advocacy area, and I am happy to announce that we will have an observation mission also here, which I am sure is by many seen as a critical element in also providing further confidence in the process. So as EU, we're very deep into this, and of course we are looking forward also to work very closely with whatever new government will be voted in, and to also very closely work with you.
European Union Head of Delegation Tom Vance talking there. Sierra Leone has joined the world over to celebrate World Human Rights Day with a call for respect for human rights in the electioneering process. This year's World Human Rights Day on the theme Respect for Human Rights as a prerequisite for violence-free elections coincides with the 10th anniversary of the adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Princess Gibson has the story.
World Human Rights Day is set aside to assess the human rights situation in the country and to also celebrate gains. In Sierra Leone, institutions are still building a culture of human rights. Although there are challenges for the full realization of human rights, some marks has been scored in legislative framework and the strengthening of institutions according to the Attorney General and Minister of Justice.
National legislations that ensure the protection of human rights in the country. The Maputo Protocol of 2015, the Child Rights Act, the Domestic Violence Act, the Devolution of Estates Act, all of 2007, and the Registration of Customary Marriages and Divorce Act 2009, the Sexual Offences Act of 2012, and the National Child Justice Strategy 2014 to 2018.
United Nations Resident Coordinator Sunil Sagal said the principles of the United Nations Declaration on Human Rights are critical and still relevant to the elections in Sierra Leone to further consolidate the peace and democracy. He called for the equal protection of candidates during the elections and the guarantee of human rights by the new political leadership that will emerge. A representative of the ECOWAS Commission, Emmanuel Okorodudu, described human rights as a prerequisite for the peaceful conduct of elections. He commended Sierra Leone government for efforts to safeguard people's rights. The chairman, Human Rights Commission, Reverend Usman Jesifona, outlined some of the strides undertaken, pointing out that the commission is well positioned to register more gains. In a similar development, Fatmata Binta Jallo of the Annie Walsh Memorial Secondary School emerged first in this year's Human Rights Panel discussion on the theme Respect for Human Rights as a Prerequisite for Violence-Free Elections. Amos Goodins of the Prince of Wales Secondary School came second, while Abubakar Mara of the St. Edwards took third position. Marks were awarded in line with understanding the subject matter, expression, appearance, and composition. Princess Gibson, SLBC News.
The newly appointed Deputy Inspector General of Police, Dr. Al-Sheikh Kamara, has subscribed to the oath of office before President Ernest Bai Koroma at State House.
In the name of God, swear that I will faithfully and truly discharge the duties of the office of Deputy Inspector General of Police of the Republic of Sierra Leone, and that I will support, uphold, and maintain the Constitution of Sierra Leone as by law established. So help me God.
Congratulate you on your appointment. I think this is an appointment that you deserve. An appointment that you're taking at a very sensitive time, but with the experience over the period, I'm sure you'll be able to handle it with the greatest amount of professionalism. There's a lot of expectations out there. We have done a lot of work in transforming the police force in the country. There is still a lot to be done, but I do expect that with the new dynamism that you're coming in with, you'll be able to effect the kind of additional changes that are required to give the police force a complete image of a highly professional force within the sub-region. Let me congratulate you and wish you all the best in this new engagement.
To tender my full support and loyalty, just like I have sworn an oath to the Constitution and to pledge my loyalty to you and to the government and people of this country, and to also express my thanks to you for the confidence that you have reposed in me and my boss here, and to assure you that we will not let you down. God being our helper, we have actually lived through time. We have served over 20 years. For me, it's about close to 30 now, 28 in the force. And we have gained a lot of experience. We have policed key events here in the country, even without the assistance of international bodies. And we have the confidence to tell the people of the country and to assure you, sir, that we are able.
Well, that report was filed in by Razia Bash Kamara. We continue with more stories making news this afternoon. Focused 1,000 on Save the Children have engaged stakeholders within the Western Area and Urban on the theme Mobilized All Stakeholders to End Child Marriage and Teenage Pregnancy in Sierra Leone. The aim is to increase awareness on child marriage and teenage pregnancy within the Western Area Urban. Ibrahim Samora has the story.
According to United Nations survey conducted recently, Sierra Leone was ranked the 20th country in the world where child marriage and teenage pregnancy is increasing. The UNICEF Communication for Development Officer Batu Shamel said that if serious measures are not put in place to reduce child marriage and teenage pregnancy, the future of young people would be affected and gives negative impact to the nation's development. She added that UNICEF would support the prevention of child marriage and teenage pregnancy so that all the stakeholders in the communities would act as monitors and bring offenders to book.
And we believe that religion has a very big role to play for addressing treating child marriage and teenage pregnancy. You know what they're high, you know what they're big. Would they do say for 3 girls picking for get belle before you reach 18 years and a small thing? But imagine, if 10 people you get in a class, 3 drop out every year because they get belle. Every year, 3 they drop. By the time they reach JSS 3, at 3 no more you will get 3. And that 3 day you know guarantee they will go because sometimes all that thing and they outside belle, we will make them go out of school. So this, like I say, not to yes, school and stakeholders them, but let the family talk, let the family talk.
The Advocacy and Communications Director, Save the Children, Sierra Leone, Ramatu Jallo, said that when a child is not in school, they are easily given for early marriage. She called on parents to allow their girls to grow up fully, religious leaders to preach about child marriage and teenage pregnancy in their sermons.
Teenage pregnancy is a serious problem in Sierra Leone. It affects we girl picking them, the school picking them, they drop out of school, then they get belly at an age where their body is still too young, they compromise their livelihood and their health. As a result, you get a high maternity mortality rate, and the baby then self-suffer when they're born. Go either die inside their belly or go die when they're not born because they're not savvy for look after them. We really all therefore come together, we work on this issue.
Officers of Focus 1000 call on their partners like ISLAC, CRISLAC, Market Women Organization, and traditional healers to disseminate information on the negative impacts of early marriage and teenage pregnancy. Representatives of ISLAC and CRISLAC also made statements where they emphasized the need to fight teenage pregnancy and early marriage in the country.
Ibrahim Samara ending that report there. The Tanges Festival has begun at the Siaka Stevens Stadium in Freetown. The festival is an annual event organized by Freetown players in collaboration with other organizations. This year, issue of security is key, and also the organizers have beefed up security to address challenges that the festive goers normally complain about. The director of the Tanges Festival is Altutu Hafna. In this interview with Alfred Flea, has explained more about security issue at the National Stadium.
At the time the bad boys say they can now, they can't begin to even that's when they blow up, where we they push this year, where they push smoke so. They don't thief one. Then they don't thief other things then just because of the lights. And when lights they go for Suda they thief. But when lights not there, the problem are thief. And they don't do an awibana, they don't thief. That teacher, they don't thief and go. Just because of lights problems. The security not proper. Because the security proper, then go consider first about light. Because when security get light, you go for sweaty, they go on. It's like the one big problem that one day. But the policeman and they pass around for the bad people then. But we like will never catch me on bad person. Next time, then try for.
Okay. Okomiya Shoulder Davis has declared the intention to vie for Councillor for Ward 417, Constituency 119, Blackor Road, Kisii. The ceremony attracted indigents of the Kisii community, including the first-term Voters Association of APC Stars. Hawanatu Bangura was there, and our reports.
It was a time of jubilation as they were set to hear from their aspirant to declare his intention to run for councillor of Ward 417. According to the people, Okome is the right candidate for the councillorship in Ward 417 as he is an indigene of Kisi and knows the needs of the people. They described him as a social mobilizer and a good representative and assured him of their support as he is development-oriented, trustworthy, respectful and can deliver. They praised Okome for services rendered to the Kisi community and encouraged APC supporters to refrain from violence and work to ensure that they win the 2018 elections. The aspiring candidate, Okome Ashwood Davis, thanked God for making the day a reality and historic. He said he's happy for the support received, which shows that he's the right man to be the councillor for Ward 417.
The last time they not give me a support the policy way they, but the people they see, they know it happen, no say me not the right man, because they lost me, they sell the ward staff. So this time around, I no say it definite. Them will point at me and no say na me for they and they represent me people in the council. While the party hierarchy then they don't get how they structure, and these structures are an APC business and how they follow. And because of now they follow the party hierarchy, they get for come and they get for see, they get for investigate and know who are the people they want, who are going to do a better representation at council. I believe say then they have canon at the front, then they come and see so that the entire party will become victorious tomorrow.
Mr. Davis spoke of his assistance rendered to the Kisi community, ranging from education to social mobilization. He said if Sierra Leone is allowed to have 90% of literacy, then there is no doubt for the country's development to be stronger. Mr. Davis called on them to support him as the symbol and prayed that God will bless the people and the community.
The Aberdeen Cemetery is presently under rehabilitation with funds provided by Dr. Mohamed Tunde McCarthy, the Chief Executive Officer of Tumac Group of Companies. Julie Hardy now reports.
Speaking to SLBC, the supervisor from Tumac Group of Companies, Mohamed Sisse, says the work started 2 weeks ago. He went on to say that the constructions have been done in various cemeteries in Freetown, and they are now in Aberdeen to do the same. He further said this work does not involve any political influence but a single individual. According to Chief Fasali Tunde of Aberdeen Community, Dr. Mohamed Tunde McCarthy was willing to help them without any condition and that they are happy for this new development. Imam Alhaji Oshoba Aberdeen thanked Allah for such a volunteering in the person of Dr. McCarthy for bringing such a development in the community. Alhaji Aberdeen said the entire Aberdeen community, both Muslim and Christians, are happy and appreciative for giving a facelift to the Aberdeen cemetery.
You watching News Hour broadcast live on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation in Freetown. We're going for a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is News on the SLBC, and we continue with more stories. A National Youth Conference on Political Tolerance, Elections, Conflict Preventions and Management has been held at the Atlantic Hall of Sheikh Stevens Stadiums in Freetown. The conference was organized by the National Youth Council and its partners to discuss roles and responsibilities of young people in ensuring a peaceful 2018 general elections. Darren Barry has the story.
People being at the center stage of the country's electioneering process, the two-day national conference was an eye-opener and a time of reflection, aiming to remind young people about their roles and responsibility to promote a peaceful and non-violent elections on March 7, 2018. The Minister of Youth Affairs, by Mahmoud Bangura, described young people as ambassadors of change, which should be displayed before, during and after the elections. He wants young people not to engage in violence activities or be used by selfish politicians. He said that young people should always put the country and their future first. He said gone are the days when young people are left behind on issues of national development but are now seen as key players of change. He commended the National Youth Coalition and its partners for engaging young people to discuss their roles and responsibility for peaceful 2018 elections. The chairman of National Youth Coalition, Prince Tolly, spoke about the importance to maintain political tolerance during and after elections. He said that elections are a crucial period when young people should put on their critical cap to elect their leaders. He wants them not to engage in violence activities, but to ensure peaceful elections. He spoke about the role young people play during the Ebola outbreak, which should be emulated during the elections. He spoke about the need for young people to have self-confidence by vying for eminent positions of trust during the electioneering process. Keynote speaker, Executive Director of Campaign for Good Governance, Valnora Edwin, said that elections are a democratic process which take place every 5 years. Therefore, young people should take the process with utmost seriousness. She said that political intolerance and prevention of violence during and after elections can only be achieved when the people are well educated, which is why the conference is of essence. She said that Campaign for Good Governance expects young people to refrain from violence when the results would have been announced. She encourages all key partners, including the Sierra Leone Police, to be professional and independent.
Darren Barry ending that report there. President Ernest Bai Koroma has praised the development strides of General Sheku Musa Yar'Adua in Africa. He made the statement during a public lecture marking the 20th anniversary of the late President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in Abuja. Razia Bashkamara has the story.
In his statement, President Nkrumah said they were gathered in memory of a great African in the person of General Sheku Musa Yar'Adua, who was so greatly loved by many people. The president said that, like everybody, the late general played his part and transitioned to great beyond. President Nkrumah described the late man as a great patriot but forgiving soldier. President Nkrumah pointed out that in the late General Sheku Musa Yar'Adua's endeavors in the military, in his aspiration to lead the country, in his investment in business, and his dedicated services to his maker, he put the interests of his beloved nation first. He said that when someone loses someone of that nature, it seems that time stands still, but nothing rooted in love is ever lost.
We have been told by former president, that yes, they've started a great job for this great nation. And again, he mentioned that the job has not been completed. And for those of us that are assembled here and outside Nigeria, I think it should be our challenge to ensure that what he lived for, what he fought for, and what he was yearning for Nigeria be achieved by all of our efforts.
President Nkrumah informed that even though the late man would have left his people, his legendary forgiveness should comfort them. His faith should uphold them, and his loving memories should help them smile again, because someone as special as Yaradua will never be forgotten.
Those of us who know Shehu very well know the type of man he was, the type of life he lived, his commitment to his family, his commitment to his religion, his commitment to his nation, his commitment to his friends.
While in Abuja, Nigeria, President Ernest Bai Koroma graced the occasion of the wedding ceremony of the daughter of the President of the Nigerian Senate, Bukale Sakari.
Bride and groom will now cut this cake after 3 counts. 1, 2, 3 cuts.
President Ernest Bai Koroma also met with the former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Goodluck Jonathan.
Well, that report was filed in by Razia Bash Kamara. It's time for the latest in a business, and from the business